and gentlemen, Victor Brooks and the Victor Brooks Show. You know what time it is. It's Saturday, every Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, depending on who we're booking and their time frame. You dig? That's the beauty of this whole new media thing that we're doing now that I'm really learning every day, but we're coming at you, you know, every Saturday and Sunday, the Victor Brooks Show Facebook Live quarantine series. And you know what? It's just been incredible, the response that I've been getting. And I have to, every episode, I love giving it up because it's not just me. I work with three of the most incredible producers that have joined this journey with me. My brother, Christopher Brooks, my sister, Julie McKnight, and our baby girl niece, Wendy Vaughn. They're helping this take it to another level that you all, the people, my positivity posse, are saying, you know, you understand that all we're trying to do is spread some love, especially during times like now. You know, I mean, we don't have the major platform like so many people do, but we're doing it in our way. We're doing it in our way to make it make sense for all of the people in the world right now who are not only going through their own personal things in life, but this whole Corona thing, this whole quarantine thing is something that, you know, we use phrases like pulling together. We use phrases like we all gonna be okay, you know, but I believe that. And that's just something that I said, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let me talk to some of my friends who are in the entertainment and artist industries and some people that I may have never known who also just share this same understanding and joy that we just want to bring something, a reminder every episode that through the arts and through what we do as artists, that you know what, we just here to spread some love and give some positivity to the world. Always like to give it up to my first responders, our doctors, our nurses, our ambulance drivers, even our people that are working the grocery stores, those days when we do get out and we got to go get something to eat and stock the house up. You're there helping us. Our sanitation workers, our truck drivers, our teachers, you know, who are still teaching our babies online, and our babies online who are still giving it there every day. Their parents that are learning a new thing to do. You dig? It's new for all of us. But one thing's for sure, y'all, it's always something to smile about. So every Friday, every Saturday and Sunday, come get some of this positivity on you. You know what I say? Take a shower in it, take a bath in it. And you know when you come out the pool, and you get that water on your fingers, sprinkle it off on somebody else, you dig? Because they need it too, just like you. Today, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I'm so excited about all the episodes that we do. I really am. And I'm just so grateful to every person that takes their time to come on and talk to me, and we talk to you, you dig? Today, when I use the phrase a brother from another mother, I'm going all the way back to the mid-'80s Los Angeles, mid-'80s music scene, where I was introduced to this brother through our mutual brother, Nate Watts. And that's when I was introduced to him personally. But I reminded Grady, or told Grady, that even before I even moved to LA in '85, when I was living in Memphis, Tennessee, and I don't even know if Grady's on camera yet, but I'm going to say it right now before he is, even if he isn't. But my brother Christopher and my sister Julie, we were big, like so many of millions of us, big BET fans, especially when it first came out. And we remember that one of the very first artists that came to BET, interviewed by Donnie Simpson, had his groundbreaking album, was our guest today, Mr. Grady Harrell. And when Grady came on that television show and that video of Belinda came out, which we're going to hear the history of that, when that hit on, instant, we said, you know, because we grew up in this business with mentors like Little Richard and others who let us understand what real artistry was. So by the time that came on with Grady Harrell and his hit Belinda, we were hook, line, and sinker. And the respect that myself and my brothers, my whole family had from that point on, from the time that we first met back in the '80s, it just grew from there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome who we call one of the true sons of soul, one of the true gentlemen that's keeping soul music and soul artistry alive, Mr. Grady Harrell. Grady, thank you so much, man, for joining us, brother. Look at him, y'all. And
Man, it's
Grady,
so good. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, man, especially to talk to you, man. I love your show. I've been watching it, and I'm so proud of you. And thank you for having me on here, man. I love you and your family. Big shout out to Julie and Chris and yourself. And I just wanted to tell you personally, I saw that wonderful duet you did. Were you in Italy? And you did a duet. It was so beautiful, Vic.
oh, thank you, man.
Look at my go. You sang that song, man. I'm like, oh, and it's your charm on stage. Because I watch everything. You know, we grew up watching everything.
That's right.
And I said, okay, I'm going to check Vic out, see what he, and you was like pulling the rabbits out your hat up because just, and then that voice was so silky like butter. I'm like, okay, you did that. Yeah.
Brother, means so much.
Man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Grady. And you know what? I want to, you know, in our episodes, Grady, you know, our whole voice, man, is positivity. Our followers and fans and people are called a positivity posse, you know? Yeah. And what in this time, brother, is your positivity right now with so much that's going on, man?
Well, honestly, I'm a big Bible reader. And I've been reading the Bible. You know, my mother raised us as Jehovah's Witnesses. So I was 12 years old, started singing at 7. But at 12 years old, you know, this lady knocked on our door and started studying the Bible with my mother. And, of course, she eventually started studying with all us 5 kids. And so I just love reading the Bible and reading about all the men and women that came before us. It just gives me a lot of faith, even to deal with what we're dealing with right now. It's so crazy these times because I know you can agree with me. There's never been a time we were kids, Brooke, when a whole country shut down, a whole world.
Come on, that's right. That's right.
That's crazy to me. And so that's what I do too. I'm in this room by myself, and my mother's on the other side of the house, and my little brother's on the other side of the house. But that's what I do. I like to study and meditate on the scriptures. I love it.
You know what? Because like you brought up, brother, family is so important, man. The family, our whatever our spiritual belief is, man, you know, much respect to what brings us through. You dig? Right. And thank you for sharing that, man, because what I remember, what your fans also remember, Grady, and love and respect about you as an artist, brother, is your power of positivity and excitement that comes in your performance, man. And you can tell that it's some people, you know, and bless them, but some people have to really learn a certain craft. Grady, you were born with this, okay? And many of us who respect what you are and who you are as an artist, take us back, Grady, to 8 or 9 years old of Grady Harrell, LA original, growing up with this music and this soul in your system, brother. What were you? What was?
It was 7 years old, Vic. I'll never forget it. And I have a lot to thank this one man for. And I heard this song over my grandmother's house. All my uncles were musicians. My mother was a singer. But when I heard, I don't like you, but I love you. See that among. I heard that. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this? It sounds like an angel. And ever since I was 7, I tried to emulate everything Smokey Robinson did. Wow. Everything. It was him that inspired me to sing. So I know his whole catalog. From 7 to 12 years old, I was nothing but a Smokey groupie, and I knew all his catalog. At that point, I could sing in my natural all of his stuff, and I would do it all around the neighborhood for anybody who would listen, and I would sound just like him. People would trip because I sounded just like Smokey. And until the Jackson 5 came on when I was 12,
yes.
I still love Smokey, but I'm like, oh my God, kids, they're doing what I want to do. Because I've been doing it since I was 12. And then those Jackson boys came on and just set the world on fire. I still follow Smokey, but I think I followed the Jacksons more because they were my age. Yes. But to this day, I love Smokey, and I had one chance to tell him.
Oh, good.
Signed to RCA Records. It was a party at some place. He came through the door, and I just whispered in his ear, you know, Sticks and Stones was climbing the charts. And I said, man, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be singing. And you know, Smokey was so humble and thank you, man. Thank you. You know,
Yes, you sound just like him even talking.
Oh, I know how to do Smoke. You know, it's like he's just, I love it, man. I love Smokey. He's the one.
Man, Grady, that man, you know what? Growing up musical, because if I'm correct, now, what was your relationship or family relationship with the Friends of Distinction? Please tell me that. I mean, you know, Grazing in the Grass, we all know. Tell us what that was.
Well, I have to say that my mother didn't sing on any of the hits, but when they would start rehearsing, when they were getting going, they were rehearsing in my living room, and Harry and the other, they're passed at this time, but and it was another girl, and then it was my mother. And this is back in the day when Jim Brown used to manage them. And so, yeah, Jim Brown used to manage them. Did you know that?
Didn't know that, brother.
Yeah, but my mother got pregnant with my little brother, Donnie Harrell. Shout out to Donnie. He's got Fox Soul. You know, Fox Soul, he's on that show.
Yeah. Right on,
That's
brother.
my baby brother. And so when she got pregnant with Donnie, she left the group, and then they hired the ones, and they blew up after that. But he used to rehearse in my living room, Vic. It's crazy.
That's the thing. And how old were you then, brother?
I must have been about 6 years old, because I wasn't singing yet. Must have been 5 or 6. Yeah.
But you were getting fed. You dig?
Yeah, because my mom, that's all she does. And even, you know, I wrote a book about my life story that I'm publishing. And my mom told me, she said, even when you were in the belly, I would listen to jazz and all this stuff. And then to start growing up, and my mother, she sang on one of Little Willie John's. She knew Little Willie John really good, you know, and sang on background on one of his records. The funniest thing that forward, his son Keith John sang on my album. You know, Keith sang on my Romance Me album. And
there you go.
So
Look at that.
Wonderful stories about Lil Willie John, who was one of the baddest singers come out of Detroit.
Yes, he was, man. Brother. You know, and so from there, with growing up in your living room, that, because I mean, it's undeniable the soul inclusion of the sound of Friends of Distinction, and that your mother was one of the premier and originals of that sound. Growing up with that, Grady, and then being a Los Angeles native and original yourself, brother, when did it hit you? Because I believe you formed your own group, not like a couple of years once you got older, right? Tell me about Papa's results.
Well, even before Papa's, man.
Okay.
It was 3 guys, 2 guys who I just recruited on my street, Sydney and Glenn. That was their names. We called ourselves the Young Gents.
Young Gents.
So yeah, we would do the clubhouse on Pico and Norton is where I lived at the time. Wow. Okay. And so I was such a strong personality as a kid. I would just pull them together, teach them harmony. I mean, my mother, she would be listening in the living room, and she said, Grady, you got to stop being so hard on them kids. And so even as a kid, like, my mother would be in her bedroom. Now she tells me this when I'm grown, right? Right. Like, I was just hoping that none of them would beat you up because you were so hard on them. And so that was at 12 and 13 years old. Okay. And then my mother would always hear us rehearsing. And my sister Rocquel Harrell, who's incredible. Yes. You can see her on YouTube, Rocquel Harrell.
I mean, lost the whole thing. I want to talk about that. Yeah. Yeah,
but at 13 years old, 14, my mother came to me, and it was 3 guys. And at this time, it was me, Brian Cox, and another high school friend. And my mother said, why don't you put Rocquel in the group? And I'm like, Mama, I don't want no girls in the group. It's just guys. I was so stupid. If we get a girl in the group, then the girls ain't gonna scream for us no more. That's how stupid I was, right, Vic? So then my mother's like, Rocquel should be in the group. So I put Rocquel in the group. And it was kind of like a Gladys Knight in the Pit setup. But Rocquel and I would trade off on lead vocals. And then my Uncle Don, may he rest in peace, he was our bass player, and he got our first band together. My Uncle Don came up with that name, Papa's Results. And he named us Papa's Results. And thus, that's how Papa's Results was born. And we rehearsed, I mean, so much we were so our steps and everything, and incredible. So, and then my Uncle Don put the band together, and we did talent shows, and we did so many things. We needed our Uncle Don to be our escort at clubs like Mavericks and The Apartment and the Total Experience, and we started grooving.
Come on, man. I don't want to, man, I love to hear the names of the clubs and the spots. They're so historic, primarily to the LA music scene. But on a whole scale, these clubs that you're mentioning are so historic to the whole soul music experience. And these are places where you literally got your feet wet, brother. This is where your seeds were sown. You did. The soul water was poured on you, you know?
and I tell you, Vic, at that time, it was so competitive. It had the baddest groups. I mean, Brothers Johnson. You had Howard Hewitt flew into town. You had Shaka. You had the Platypus. You had Beverly Hills. You had Lakeside came into town from Ohio. And it was so many bad groups at that time. And we would all go see each other, steal each other's steps and stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
It was crazy. It was like, who's playing at this? It was always I mean, I surely missed that, because that's how we got our feet wet, as you say, because every weekend there was a bad group with a bad band playing at either the Total Experience, the Tiki Room, the Apartment, the Mavericks Flat, always had the baddest entertainers. You couldn't go in Mavericks without being bad, because Karen and John Daniels was not going to let you get through. You had to audition first. Yeah. And when we auditioned, I think I was 16 and Rocquel might have been 17.
Okay.
And we got in Mavericks, man, and it was off the chain after that. We just started moving and grooving. It was crazy.
Yeah. Come on, man. And you know what? With Papa's Results, you had like major management reputation for a minute with that band, didn't you?
Well, with Papa's Results, we had a guy. He wasn't related to us, but we had a guy named Leroy Harrell, and he was good to us, man. He showered a lot of money into us. We were together 6 years, and we recorded a few songs. You know, you can find them on YouTube. We recorded a few songs. You know, Sister Sheila, The Love Healer, and and we did a little. You know, we never got signed to a major deal, while all of our what do you call it? The guys who were with other bands, contemporary, all our contemporary were getting signed one after the other. Okay. And I guess it just wasn't for us at the time. And
I got you, man. I got you.
Never got signed to a major label like Lakeside did, and Chaka did, and eventually Shalimar did. Mm-hmm. So after 6 years, my sister got a call from my best friend Daryl Ross. Okay. His sister Sharon Ross was singing with Diana Ross at the time, and so Daryl and I were like this. We met each other at Dorsey when I was 14 or 15. He's younger than me, and she called Rocquel, and we were trying for 6 years, man. And so Rockel's like, Juby, that's my nickname, Juby. She's like, Juby, I got a chance. What should I do? I said, Rocquel, you'd be a fool not to take it. And she took that chance, and she was with Diana, man, for like 12 to 13 years.
Fantastic, man. And during this time, brother, I know, like myself and so many artists, man, you, at that young age, you were privy to one of the ones who was privy to being able to sit right there at the stage watching these performers growing up like Diana Ross. And I know you were right there with Marvin Gaye watching this thing, and a lot of the Motown and greats, brother. Yeah. Coming up in that school, Grady, well, give me your feeling of that, brother.
Well, I was always in awe, just like you. We were in awe of Motown. I told my friend Robert Gordy the other day that I always wanted to be a Motown act, right? And so one night when they had the Motown 25, right, bro? Vic, you're gonna laugh at me for this story. They had the Motown 25, right? And so me and my friend Herbie, we always made it a point to sneak in every event, sharp as a tack. Whether it's the BET Awards, the Grammys, the Oscars, the at this point, the Soul Train Awards, which was, the Motown 25.
Gotcha.
We got in, right? And we
Yeah.
always work our way backstage. And
Okay.
we just hobnobbing with all the greats. And I'm like in heaven. So I at the end of the Motown 25, they told all the audience to leave, right? They told all the artists who were backstage to come out on the stage. And they took a real big picture. And I tell you, man, the spirit moved me. Yeah. And I went out on stage with all those people. And somebody just sent me a picture, bro. This picture right here.
Okay.
Look, yes. I'm right behind. There's Randy Jackson and there's Jermaine, and that's my face. You see it? So, Vic, the funniest thing, I sent that to Robert. I said, my whole dream was always wanting to be signed to Motown, like all kids my age. And then I sent him this picture. It's a big picture, but I zoomed in on my face, and I said, for a brief moment, I was a Motown artist. Hey, man, my friend Herbie was backstage, right? He said, fool, you ain't going out on stage. I said, Herbie, I have to. The spirit is pulling me. And I went out on stage, man, and it was none the wiser. And then a Life magazine came out with this big old picture, right? It's this big picture of everybody. And the whole picture kind of looked like this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's everybody on the stage, right?
Right.
And so with the picture, it had everybody's face blacked out with a ABC or whatever, and on the side you would see their names. Well, on my picture, they had mine blotted out, and on the side they had a question mark. Like, who is this fool, right? Herbie was backstage cracking up, man. He said, I can't believe. And it's so funny. I've been looking for that picture for so long, Vic, and somebody sent it to me last week. Yeah.
Brother, that is a great story.
So with Motown and with people like the Jackson 5 and just being at a Diana Ross concert was the most beautiful thing in the world, because I went to stay with my sister, which back in 1980, that's when artists used to do 30 days at a time. That was their residency for 30 days. So I went for the whole 30 days, lived in my sister's bungalow with her, and went to every concert. And every show at the Caesar's Palace at that time, it was chock full of stars.
Look at
and the most magnificent night, and Diana Ross would go out, reach out and touch somebody's, and put the mic in people's hand. Well, this one night, man, she put it in Marvin's hand. I'll never forget it. And you know how his voice is buttery like yours. Anyway, but it's like, he was and I'm sitting on the side of the stage all this time. So I'd be backstage, like falling in love with Miss Ross. I was in love with her. And she's just I ain't got to tell you how incredible she is on stage. Yeah. And I would be, every night I'm at the show, I never got tired of seeing whoever came to the show. So it's just to be around and in the future, who would have thought, we'll get to that, but who would have thought that Jermaine Jackson would hire me
to play
in their mini-series about their life story.
That's right, brother. I mean, you know what? It's like, I look at it, man, like, while us humans are down here making plans about life, and I got goals, and people love to do 5-year plans. Okay, that's cool. You know, it keeps a vision. But check it out. I have always believed, my parents always told us, my mom used to say, I believe God just looking down at us saying, my poor babies, look at them. They down there making all these plans.
That's so real. That's real talk, dude. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But it was, after my sister left, I had to go on my own, and I just went solo, and I started playing with different bands, and just honing my craft. You know how we do it.
Yes,
and then finally, I came to the attention of this African lady who was crazy.
Now, I'm going to ask you this, brother. You've been so gracious to take us through your whole life journey up to this point, man. And it's educating us and those watching that Grady, you know, you were born into this groove of a groom. You dig? That it's taken you now to, we're at the part of your solo career, and where you are about to record the album Moana, correct? Okay, now brother, now I think, yes, I did. In the intro, I told you that's the Grady living in Memphis before we even moved here.
Yeah.
Personally, that's the Grady myself, my brother and sister, I'm gonna say fell in love with, got the instant respect with, said, you know, my mama used to come in and try to do the dance moves you used to do. Right? So, and my father, he was like, you know, we're PK. My father was even like, yeah, that's going good. Look at him.
Right.
So we were, it was a family affair watching our little Betamax recordings, and my brother Chris would get there trying to do the moves, and you know, so I'm gonna mess with you, Chris. I know you watch it too. You know I'm telling the truth. So we get on there. But now when this album came out, brother, all the history that you've given us up to this point, did it like you're in your mind where you like, I'm ready for this now. I'm ready for this.
Well, Vic, I thought I was ready at 7 years old. I've always been ready. I was so ready at 7, maybe 8 years old. Me and a friend of mine, an elementary school kid, tried to walk to Motown, which was in Hollywood, and we got lost. We got lost, and we had to go back home. But we were just gonna, it was a duo, me and this kid named, I forgot his name even. We walked, man, and my mother never lets me get out of her sight. But I snuck away that time because I wanted to walk to Motown. I heard it was in Hollywood. And we lived way on La Brea and Adams at that time. Or no, at Pico and Norton. So tried to walk. So I thought I was ready then. I was gonna audition for whoever opened up the door. I was ready.
Go ahead.
I've always been ready, and it was just never nobody that gave me the platform. You know, I mean, we had a platform as Papa's Results. I shouldn't say that. But we never hit the big time, which I'm glad at this point that I never did, because I'd probably be washed up, an alcoholic, a dope addict somewhere. Even though I promised my mother I'd never do drugs, and I never did, because unfortunately my father was a heroin addict, and he died at the early age at 49. So I knew I never was going to do drugs. But I just always thought I was ready, man. And, you know, Leroy Harrell, he paid for us to do those singles that we did as Papa's Results, but we never did get that break like everybody else did, or never have a bona fide pop record, you know? So then I met Madame, you know, Patience Dabinet. She's a wonderful African artist herself.
Okay.
And she started managing me. And
that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay. But now let me ask this. Now, Grady, in that particular video, it showed that Grady was a triple threat. That is used through this industry a lot, meaning singer, dancer, okay, actor. Now, brother, are you your own choreographer? Who did this? It's just a natural. I mean, with that video at that time, what was your hope, your feeling, and your pride in that first solo project, brother?
Well, then I was just trying to come after Michael, like everybody was. Gotcha. So I said to myself, I had a whole lot of money, thanks to this African lady. I had millions, right? Yeah. So I can do whatever I wanted to do. Right. So I said, what should I do? I went to jazz classes, jazz, modern dance, and I was living in my own big old mansion. So I had all the perks of a star that a star would have. Right. Rolls Royces, all that stuff. The Rolls Royce on the Belinda video was mine. Thanks. That
was yours. Yeah, we used to watch that tubes and like, dang.
Yeah, my manager, she gave me everything, and so it was like living in a storybook, literally. Gotcha. And so that's a whole nother story. But so I went and I fell in love with my teachers. They were incredible. I went there right on Melrose because I was living right below Hollywood, the Hollywood Hills, and so after I didn't, you know, when I did that album, when Madame, she wrote most of those songs for my album, I just thought she was just doing this to placate me, right? Okay. But she really wanted me to go all the way. So she's like, let's do a video. I'm like, word, okay. So I got all my friends together, and the teacher, I had been taking jazz for about a year. And I'm a dancer anyway. So you know how we grew up dancing, you know. I I asked my teachers, can you choreograph my song Belinda? Because Madame, she picked that as the first single. And so, of course, she said, yes, of course. She choreographed it, and we used to rehearse at the dance studio. And I was just so inspired by Michael, like everybody else.
Right.
And I just wanted to learn the tap dancing, the modern, the jazz, and I did. And I learned all that stuff. So you can tell in Belinda, I was doing some jazz and some stuff.
That's right.
And that's what motivated me. Michael motivated everybody.
Everybody.
Yep.
And you know what, brother? A lot of people don't understand, you know, all the way back, all of our predecessors, even in any genre of music, man, there've been names that, or labels that's been given, oh, they're biting this. No, come on, let me tell y'all something. In this business, historically, God rest the soul of my uncle, not by blood, but by relation. We just lost Little Richard. And one thing that he always educated myself and Chris Giulione, he was like, listen, I got something from Rosetta Tharpe. I got something from Elmore James. He said, and so many others, Prince and Michael got something from me. He said, so and his thing was, we all just helping each other out to do what we need to do to bring our own style to it, you know?
Yeah, I think they ought to rename it, not the entertainment industry. I think they ought to rename it the Biters. Because everybody bites off everybody else.
Break that down. Break that down, brother.
The Biters. Amen. Because, man, I'm telling you, to this day, vocally, I'm still biting off of Smokey and Marvin and Michael and Jackie Wilson and Sam Cooke. And it goes on and on. If you're a smart singer, you know how to put yourself in there, but you use what you listen to, the Donnies and the Jennifer Holidays and the Emotions. I mean, all that stuff. My sister, I would be listening to things and she would be listening to the Emotions. I mean, we did Papa's Results. We did their song. Who didn't do Best of My Love? We did that and had some dynamite steps. You know, we first heard that. Me and my sister Rocquel, we heard that on Orange Drive, and we like, oh my God! Like everybody, that fantastic hit. We were like, I mean, the Emotions were like the incredible thing to us. And my sister would listen to their very first album. Before that one, it was We hold the key to. I think that was
right.
Whatever that first. That whole album was so incredible.
That was Flowers album. Yeah.
Flowers. And so, man, we've been biting. I started biting. That's how I started. Smokey.
Who didn't? That's what Little Richard said. That's right.
Anybody say that they're not biting, they're lying, and I don't want to talk to them.
There you go. So, right. But the genius of it, man, and because I believe that even with the biting, brother, it makes a whole thing of, and at least, and I have to go back to what Uncle Rich used to say. He said, bottom line, it's okay to pull something from here, pull something from there. Yeah. But he said, you got to learn how to put you in it. He said, if you ain't in it, then all you doing is, is imitating somebody. He said, but you got to put you in it. And that's what we respect. I told you the family used to watch Belinda video. And that's what taught us. We said, now, wait a minute. Look at this. The brother's triple threading. He danced. Look at this patio scene. And he's doing his thing. Got my mom up dancing and my dad clapping for my mom.
Right.
It's like if we sitting around. But the whole thing we respected was that there was still that Gradiness, if I can use that term, that was woven in all of your performances, all of your vocalizations, all of your stylings, brother. Now, tell me this. Now, what was your relationship with Solar Records during that time? Because we talked about Mavericks Flats. We talked about all of the iconic clubs and groups throughout Los Angeles these are your comrades. These are your, all of you all are part of that original LA soul scene and sound. What was that LA family like, brother, coming up?
Well, Jody Wadley and Jeffrey Daniel, they went to Dorsey as well. Even though Jeffrey grew up in Michigan, when he came to LA, we were like this. And Jeffrey was trying to teach me how to pop, but I really wasn't in there now because me and Jeffrey were on the stage crew together. Okay. He taught me how to play that song.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He puts love out there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so Jody was 2 years behind me in high school, or a year behind me. So we already knew each other.
Right.
And then the Dance on Soul Train, I danced on Soul Train as well. Not as much as Jeffrey and Jody did, because I was out just trying to get it with my band. But when I didn't have enough to do, I would go to my Soul Train family and do my thing. So when Madame took all our finished product, we finished. She put all her money in it. And she told me she was going to take it to Dick Griffey. But before then, I knew Dick Griffey, because in 1979, when my sister had went off to go with Diana, I get a call from Jeffrey Daniel. And Jeffrey will attest to this. He called me on the phone. It was a Thursday. I was laying in my bed, just really, really not feeling good, because my career wasn't going anywhere. And so Jeffrey said, Grady, Gerald left the group. Gerald was the lead singer who sang on Take That to the Bank. A long time we've been together, been through the... He left for whatever reason. And Jeffrey called me. We're in New York and we need a lead singer. And me and Jody want you to do it. He said, but the final analysis goes to Dick Griffey. So he's like, Dick's going to call you, get in the car, go to meet him over at Capitol Records. We met in the parking lot. And so 79, I'm like, I'm there. And I sat in Dick's big old BMW at the time. And we ride around town. He's questioning me about what voice do I sing. I said, well, my voice is pretty high, as a man. So I sang alto and I sang, whatever. And so tenor and whatever. And we widened talking, and I said something to him. And this one I knew him. I said, man, you the next Berry Gordy, huh? Just my kid. And he said, no, I'm the next Dick Griffey. And I'm like, okay. So
right on.
So he's like, I said, okay. So he said, okay, what I want you to do, young man, is tomorrow, Leon Silvers is going to call you. And Leon called me. I met him at Capitol. Yes. And so he had a big BMW too. They must have had a cell on him at the time. So Leon, he wanted to hear me sing. And it's this song, I'll never forget it. It was called Right Dead in the Socket. And he's like, sing a little bit of this. I was nervous. I don't know why I was so nervous. And so Jeffrey told me, if you're not here by, this was Thursday when I talked to him. He said, if you're not here by Monday, that means somebody else got the gig. He didn't even tell me that Jermaine Stewart was in the running or Howard Hewitt. I just thought it was always me. I never knew that these other cats were involved. And so I'm like, how can I not get it? I'm Grady Harrell, right? But I never received a call, and we know who got it.
I got you.
And I listened to all those old records, and I said, they picked the right dude. Because back then, I was in such a Michael Jackson mode. Okay. Everything I did try to emulate Michael was too much. But I listened to Howard, and I said, man, they picked the right cat.
Oh, man, Howard Hewitt, incredible.
Yeah,
his own
right. Dude. That's my dude, man. So when I finally, fast forward to 1982, 83, when my manager took our finished product, Moana, to Dick Griffey. And they worked something out. I don't know what they worked out, but she, they distributed it through MCA at the time. And we did the video. And with the video, I think, it didn't make no noise. I think Lowell Silas, which I got mad at him one night. He never forgave me.
Silas, okay.
On Belinda. I didn't hear it until I walk in a club at Carlos and Charlie's. Remember Carlos and Charlie's?
That's right.
And Belinda's playing. I was so childish. And I went up to him. I said, dude, who gave you the authority to remix my tune? That's why I say you got to always be nice to people. Lowell Silas. When I needed a deal. And I went to junior high school with Lowell Silas. I went to Mount Vernon with him. And Benny. Okay. And so I tell you, man, sometimes our people, we just don't. After I lost my deal, we'll get to that with RCA Records. I called Lowell. I called Benny. Think they called me back? Nope. And but Dick was already familiar with me when Madame took him Moana, And he's like, yeah, I love Grady's talent. Put it out. And
Right.
of course, I think Belinda may have went to 69 on the R&B charts.
Come on, man. Come on, brother. Much respect, man.
Yeah.
And the
LA wasn't ready for that kind of like African
I was just about to ask you that, man. That right there, because number one, the Afrocentricness funk, I'm gonna put. The Afrocentric funk of that mixed with that Gradiness, man. In my opinion, and I've talked to so many other people, that it was a groundbreaking sound during that time. Yeah.
And I tell you, man, when I heard Fred Wesley tracking at the studio, when I started hearing that, I'm like, we got something here. Because even though my voice is like Michael's, the Africanness of it all is like totally to the left, and I love that. And so Madame, and she's like Petit Papa. She used to always call me Little Daddy. That's French. Petit Papa. Just listen to me. I'm African. And she's always, I'm like, okay. Don't kill me. But she brought those songs to me.
She was right.
Yeah. And the thing is, she would write those songs, the lyrics in French, right, Vic? So I would have to interpret them. I get an interpreter to interpret them. And it's so different with the melody. I would have to basically rewrite the melody because of the way she wrote it in French.
Gotcha.
And so all those songs that she wrote for me, and with Fred Wesley at the helm, with all those.
Come on, man. And we know Wesley, I mean, just the fact that Fred Wesley, trombone, JBs, James Brown, you know, I mean, now we're continuing with that involvement of Grady's, your talent, your association of that original soul community that's been with you for forever. Yeah. And it's just, you know, like I say, even to this present day, for those of us who have you know, the thousands, hundreds of thousands of all over the world that have seen your show in Vegas, that all the way to what we're talking about now, this is proof evidence. I mean, we have Fred Wesley of the JBs producing the song. He was the producer, right?
Producer, yep.
Oh, man, you know?
Because the thing is, Vic, the backstory about all that is, of course, Fred used to play with James. Well, Madame's husband at the time was the president of Gabon. Gabon was over in Africa. He was the president for 42 years. Okay. His wife was my manager.
Okay.
They would send for James Brown to go over there and do his thing. Well, Fred Wesley met them before me. So when I met her, she's like, I got the best producer. He had already been producing her albums.
Look at
her too. She's still sitting today at like 70, 78, 79 years old. If, you know, Patience Dabinet, still doing her thing. And so, yeah, man, Fred was already doing it. That's why when she told him, I have this talent that I want you to produce, he was like, oh, boy, here we go again. It's going to be a no singer, right? And he told me this.
That's Fred.
Yes, Fred said, I said, what? He said, I just knew it was going to be some guy to come in and thought he can sing. And then when we heard you for the first time, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to do something with him.
There it is. There it is. And, you know, and the story continues, brother, because now we can, if we can fast forward to the RCA days, all right? When you signed, and I remember RCA, and because if I'm correct now, Stevie Wonder was a part of your RCA story at that time, right? Yes. Please tell us that, the recording of working with this brother, and, you know.
Oh, man, everybody, when they read my book, they're like, your life was a dream. You ought to write a book. All my friends been telling me that, so I wrote one. So my best friend in high school was Andre Cleveland, and James Cleveland adopted him. You know, the gospel.
Yes.
Cleveland adopted Andre. Well, Andre and I were like this when we were like 16, 15 years old. Me, him, Daryl Ross, Herbert Dry, Andrew Goucher, who's the bass player extraordinaire for everybody. We all went to Dorsey. So Andre, Nate Watts, our beloved brother, he called me, him and this cat named James Allen, who played percussions for Stevie.
Wow.
They called and they said, hey, Grady, man, we want you to come up and would you do some demos for us? We'll pay you for these demos. And so we were doing demos every night for about a month up at Tina Marie's house in Pasadena when she had that big old house.
Right on.
And that's where I first met Tina through, it's funny about our community.
Yes.
It's like we meet each other through each other.
That's right, brother. That's right.
So I did these demos, man, for Nate and James. And so I let Andre hear him. And Andre said, dude, I can get you a deal. Andre has always been the hustler of our friends. He took it to Eric Nuri. You know who Eric Nuri is married to now?
No.
She wrote Man in the Mirror for Michael.
Saida?
Saida. He's married to Saida.
Oh, okay.
At that time, he's managing her and married to her. At that time, he was head of A&R at RCA Records, Eric.
Okay.
Shout out to Eric Nuri. That's my dude. He signed me. So Andre took my demos to him and predicated on, this is where Stevie comes in. Andre is like this to this day with Stevie Wonder. And so Andre took it to Eric and he said, I got Stevie Wonder to produce 2 tunes on this guy's album too. So Eric said, man, we gonna sign him. He signed us, a hell of a deal, gave us some money. You know, back then you used to get some big money for signing.
Oh yeah.
So he signed us. Andre started his production company, which was called Tinseltown Productions. So he signed me, he signed Tyler Collins, he signed Domino Theory, and he signed to his production company our late singer, Pretty Terry. Remember Terry Stanton?
Terry, man, yes.
So my album was the first one to come out. And when I first met Stevie, we got the great deal with RCA in 1988. And of course, Stevie Wonder was the last one to turn in his songs. You know, you got to just wait on him. Man, I got to tell you what I used to argue with Stevie about all the time. I mean, it's like, Andre's like, dude, this is Stevie, Grady. You can't talk to him like that, right? So so I called at the studio, and I guess I was sounding like, I said, Stevie, man, it's Grady, and I just want to apologize for how I talked to you last night. So I left it on his machine. The next day I went to the studio, and so he said, hey, everybody, come in the studio, man. I want y'all to hear something, right? And so I'm like, we all came in there. I had no idea. So Nate and all of us were in there, and he pressed the tape. And it was me, simping. I was like, Stevie, I'm so sorry. And Stevie said, listen at this B-I-T, you know. So he said, nah, man. He said, I forgive you. And he came over, he felt my head. He's like, pow! Don't ever talk to me like that.
He went straight on
crazy. Slapped me in my head. And he said, don't ever talk to me like that again, right? Yeah. I'm like, so I was the butt of everybody's jokes for years. But anyway. Yeah. That album, the very first album, which was Come Play With Me, you can hear all the tracks on YouTube. Right. And we did a duet. I really wanted my sister to do it with me, but for political reasons, Tyler Collins did it. And Stevie Wonder wrote that tune, You and I. And it's on YouTube. And he wrote another beautiful tune called If Ever. And he had me singing it. I'd sing you a song without a word. You could hear my tune. And he wrote that song, and I would be next to him, just me and him, in New York, in the studio, because he never got to the studio till 1. He would tell us to get there at 9 or 10, but then we'd have to wait till 1. And so everybody would eventually leave. So it's just me and Stevie in the studio. And those days, I think we worked on that for like 2 or 3 weeks in New York.
Right on.
And it was incredible, just working with them. And the most beautiful thing is that when everybody left, it would just be me and him sitting there. And he's like, what's your favorite song that I used to? And so I would name some obscure songs. And he would just sit and play everything I loved. So it was like, it took his glasses off, and it was just Stevie and me. And I would just pick the songs, and he would, I got to see if I remember that. So we had intimate time together. It was like bonding of brothers. And see, Stevie, he believes a lot in signs and stuff, you know, like Taurus or whatever, which I don't, but Stevie does. He said, when's your birthday? I said, May 12th. It's like, man, your birthday is the day before mine.
Look at that.
And so he thought we had a lot in common. And so we just got to be brothers, man. And it was so incredible working with this man. But Daryl Ross, who produced Sticks and Stones, my high school pal. He produced that, and he produced Come Play With Me. And then you had, you know, the piano player, Bobby Lyle, his 2 sons. Thomas Lyle produced 2 tunes. Then Nate Watts and James Allen produced 2 tunes. Then Stevie produced 2 tunes. So the Come Play With Me album was just chocked full of wonderful songs, man. And RCA just didn't put,
Brother,
you know, they didn't want Sticks and Stones to be the first single. They wanted Fun to be the first single.
okay.
And me and Andre, we pushed for Sticks and Stones because I was trying to do my best Sam Cooke impression. And we even had the Soul Stirrers. Anybody loves Sam Cooke know he sang with the Soul Stirrers.
Yes.
We had them singing on the record at that time.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Bob Buziak, who was the president of RCA, he said, you know what? I'm going to listen to you guys. I'm going to let this song be the first single. And unless it goes to the top 10 of the R&B charts, I'm not going to cross it over. That was Bob Buziak's promise. It went to number 4 RCA, I'm sorry, R&B, and they didn't cross it over.
Oh, RCA. But you know, then RCA had that thing on it, man. I don't know what it was during that time, you know, but I want to, and you know, the stories you went into, that intimate brotherhood of you and Stevie Wonder, man, the involvement of his artistry with your artistry at that time. I believe right after that, is that the time when now your association with Patti LaBelle, like soon after that, or was there some time in between there?
That was, I didn't get with Patti until 2004 because we had a friend as well, Mr. Sammy McKinney. He's a songwriter. But I just wanted to go back to RCA briefly. The running joke at that time is that if you want to get rid of the spread of AIDS, have RCA distribute it.
I remember that.
They didn't. Yeah,
because that. That's
right. They tried with the next album was even better, was called Romance Me. That's on YouTube as well. And they dropped the ball. And then Andre went in at that time, Skip Miller, who used to be at Motown. Yeah. He came over because Eric Nuri left. He wanted to do other things. And Skip Miller came in. Yeah. So Skip Miller, I guess, got tired of Andre cussing him out. And he said, look, man, so long, take your whole production company and goodbye. So,
you know what, man? And once again, we can sit back like my mom used to say, guys like looking down, say, look at my babies. They making plans, but hey, I got something else. Because you know what, man? And you know, and when we were talking about biting or giving, you know, pulling things and making it your own.
Yeah.
One thing, and my mother and father said, make sure you tell him that his Sam Cooke takes us back to when, you know, we're going back when Sam Cooke was, you know, in my opinion, the premier and first soul man to really take that, you know.
Right.
Your Sam Cooke, let me tell you something, your Sam Cooke, and I know you do him and Jackie Wilson in that incredible Vegas show that you do, man, you and the other entertainers. But my favorite that you do, Sam, is I'm Born by the River, Changes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you man. Know? I love that one. I love all Sam's stuff, but I really love this stuff with the Soul Stirrers. I mean, that's...
What do you think that the ingredient of what Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers, why has that lasted so long to this day?
Sam's voice. That voice, I mean, anybody who's a Sam Cooke fan know what I'm talking about, Vic. It's like Sam Cooke, I mean, when you hear him say, I know the Lord will make a way for me, and I know that my God will from trouble someday set me free. That's why I'll never, I mean, come on, man.
I know, come on now. That's called a cliffhanger, y'all. That's called a cliffhanger.
It's like Sam, when my ex-wife's mother gave, and trust me, I did not, this is going to sound crazy to you, I did not get into Sam Cooke until I was 25 years old, maybe 26.
Okay.
And the only reason I got into him because Valerie's mother, Cleone, gave me an album with a lot of his hits on it. And his beautiful face was on there. I'm like, wow, that guy looked like he can be my father, right? And so then I didn't even know that all the Soul Stir stuff existed even then. I just started buying up the pop records. And then when I bought a certain album, it's called The Man and His Music, it had 4 gospel tunes on it. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Right.
So when I met the Soul Stirrers in New York, I sang, Whoa, Lord, oh, time. And they, right when I did it, we were in the van headed to the studio. So I said, Andre said, Grady, just start singing a Soul Stirrer song and see if they come in. So I said, whoa, Lord, and they, whoa, Lord, and they start singing. It was such a magical moment. So they said, do you know any other of our stuff? And I'm like, there's more? So then after that, I started digging and learned all the stuff. I'm like, oh my. So Sam Cooke and the Soul Stirrers, all his stuff with them, he was with them for 6 years. So it's hundreds of tunes that.
That's right.
It's crazy. And so Sam Cooke is incredible, man. And I just can't wait to see him in the resurrection. I want to talk to him.
Come on, brother. You know what? Now, how did Grady end up in Vegas, brother? Through this incredible career journey.
Yeah.
Vegas, how did Vegas drop?
Well, in 1990, when I lost my deal with RCA Records, you know, I got all these talented sons, right?
That's right.
And so my manager, brother, Brutha, and then Jake and Papa. And so my manager at the time was named Tony. And Tony's name, he's Suzanne DePass's cousin. Tony. Anyway, he was managing me, he was managing Jennifer Holliday. He knew that there was a Jackson 5 movie being done. And so he told me, man, you got all these talented kids. We'll open the back door up for you because I want them to audition. Okay. So I was taking these kids on callback after callback. And even though none of my kids got the on-screen appearance of none of the Jacksons, my son Anthony, if you read the credits, that's Anthony Harrell singing all the Michael Jackson joints.
Look at that.
I'm sitting right next to him in the studio telling you about life going around. I had to tell him how to do the innuendos to be Michael at 6 years old when he's saying climb every mountain.
Right.
And that's Anthony. Now, Jason Weaver, he did re-record all of his stuff. But that was Anthony singing from age of 7 until Jason got on. Then Jason Weaver sang all those songs. But sometimes when I listen to Jason sing, I'm like, that sounds like that riff I gave Anthony. I don't know if they was going in and out. You know. Anyway, so then Tony said, we want to see Grady for possibly playing Jackie at this age. We want to see Cheyenne for playing, Cheyenne, a.k.a. Papa, playing Michael at a young age. And the casting director wants to see you. And I'm like, want to see me? I didn't even audition. And so she said, well, Jermaine Jackson said that you look a lot like Jackie Wilson, and Michael Jackson loved Jackie Wilson. Well, I was familiar with Jack, but only thing I saw was on BET, those commercials with him saying, "Your love lifting me high." I used to see that, and I'm like, okay, well, and the casting director said, you look like him. Do you know any of his tunes? I lied and said yes. So the next day, when I took the kids to the audition, I saw Jermaine. He was always there because him and his wife at the time, Margaret, produced the miniseries. And so Jermaine said, okay, are you going to be ready tomorrow to sing us a song? I said, yeah. He said, I'm telling you, man, you got a good chance at this because you look like the cat. We used to watch the cat get down on the side of the stage, I said, no, don't worry. And I was scared to death. I didn't want to tell him, man. So the next day I went home. I came back, and Jermaine was there, his mother, Catherine, his wife, Margaret, and the lady who directed, I forget who it was. And so I turned my collar up like Elvis, and I started singing. I didn't sing in that voice I just sang.
Okay.
I sang Grady Harrell's voice. Your love lifting me higher. I didn't. I found that voice a year or two later. Your love. You see that little thing I put on it right there? I found it because I used to always make fun of my brothers and sisters when I was a kid. Come on out here and then sweep that floor like Mama told you. And
I
didn't use that. If you listen to my clip on the miniseries, I sang in my Grady Harrell voice. I hated it every time I hear it when I'm saying, your love lifting me high. I didn't do it in my voice, in Jackie's voice. I found that years later because after it aired, people start calling me all around the country. Like you said, life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. Who'd have thought that I would be making a living right now doing it, thus the conch. My son's always like, Dad, when are you gonna cut that conch off, dude? It's 2020. And I said, sons, as soon as this conch stop making me that paper, then I'll cut it off.
Come on now.
Jackie Wilson, of course, my shows in Canada have been canceled because of COVID-19, but I'm still going this in a year. So I started doing a play called Stop the Noise, Bring Back the Music. And I was doing a tribute to Jackie Wilson. And Dennis Edwards was in the play, Ollie Woodson, and it was crazy. Yeah. And my boy, Nate Evans. So Nate Evans, fast forward to 2005, Nate called me. This is after I toured with Patti LaBelle for about a year. And it was crazy. I love Patti. And we were all overseas. And so, man, Nate called me, Grady, there's a gig in Vegas. Would you like to come? Naturally, I thought it was going to be doing Jackie Wilson. But it was for the Legends in Concert show, doing a tribute to the Temptations. And that's what I did. And so I did that for 3 years. And I thought we were going to only do it for 4 months. And they loved it so much that we stayed there. And then we traveled to Myrtle Beach. We traveled to Atlantic City. We traveled to Branson, Missouri, because Legends got properties all over those places.
Yes.
So then I came back home to Vegas. I never went back to LA because the cost of living, you can get a 5-bedroom house for like $1,200 a month. And so I stayed here.
Right.
And then I was doing all kind of things around town. And then my friend Pete Peterkin called me. First, me and my boy, the guy who did James Brown, Debonair, he called and said, hey, man, let's me and you do a tribute to the greats. We call ourselves Double J. I'll do James Brown, you do Jackie Wilson, and we'll battle. I said, that's a great idea. So we tried to shop that at the different casinos. But, of course, 2 little black boys trying to shop this.
Vegas, welcome to Vegas. Yeah, I got you in a lot. I love Vegas. I love Vegas, but you know, hey, it is what it is. I can dig it.
Man. Behind the scenes, it's a lot of prejudice going on. I'm sorry about that, but I got to be truthful. Then Pete Peterkin, who did the Ray Charles, called me and said, Grady, I got this guy who wants to put a lot of money in the show. His name was Mark Paskins. Shout out to Mark. We love you, Mark. And Mark put all that money in. We started in Reno. I was doing Jackie and Sam, and then my girl Nanette Barbera, she was our choreographer. Shout out to Nanette. And so we all met down in Reno. We opened up there because Vegas did not want Mark to put on a show with just them visualizing it. They said, well, go get your feet wet in Reno, and we did for 8 weeks. Then we came down to Vegas, and we did it on the strip, and then Mark sold, after about a month run, Mark Paskins sold his share of our show to Ken and Helene Walker. Shout out to Ken and Helene, the best producers in the business. Right. And they put us on all black cast on the strip. Almost 2 years. It was crazy.
And you know what?
They paid us good.
And you know what? I have seen the show. Remember myself
you came down, that's right.
Charles McCoy, we came through. You took care of us, man, and that show, brother, it's incredible, and it's incredible because of the artists that you have involved on that show. And yes, I'm biased because the love and respect I got from my brother Grady. You did your Gradiness, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, there is no way that I can condense a 1-hour piece with this incredible history and legacy of our brother Grady Harrell and his journey of artistry. Grady, brother, once again, I'm going to thank you again for coming here with me, man. And you jumped on the vocal. You gave us a vocal cliffhanger. I ain't going to put you on the spot. I know how that feels of doing something, but I'd love for you to come back when we can schedule it. I know you're crazy busy even through this time. I'm not
busy with the, whenever you want me, look, whenever you want me to do it, you let me know, because I got you, man. I like the way that you're building this, and whatever I can do to add to this, man, it's an honor, Vic. So, man, I'll always be here for you, man. You know that.
Man, thank you, Grady. And you know it's vice versa, man.
Yeah.
Me, Chris, and Julie. And I got people sitting here there. It's full. I got about 4 of our Brazilian people here, man. As you know, Julie has been coming with me on my thing there. And brother, it would be an honor for you and around your busy schedule after all this is over. Please come over with us and let's spread that Gradiness over in South America.
I love to, man. I would love to. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Positivity Posse, y'all heard it again today. The brother came and brought some smiles, brought some laughter, brought some wisdom, brought some honesty that you know you're going to get every time the Victor Brooks Show Facebook Live is on. My respect and my love for our brother Grady Harrell has only been enhanced by his talk today. And I know from you, the millions and thousands who's had the opportunity to hear this brother over his career are agreeing and understand the same thing. Real music is still here. Real artistry is still here. Real performing is still here. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. Just because the machine, as we say, doesn't put it out there, it doesn't mean that it ain't still here. And it's still here for us to love and still here for us to respect. Y'all, and this is one right here, Brother Grady Harrell, that's keeping it alive. I love you, Facebook Positivity Posse. Come back every Saturday and Sunday. You know what we do right here, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Tomorrow we have Haywood Galbraith, the premier African-American photojournalist in our lifetime. We'll be here sharing his stories of the OJ trial and his illustrious career of what he's been doing and developing. We have a whole next week on Facebook Live quarantine series. We're going to be coming up with our, I'm going to call it my Brazil Day. We have Brother Zay Ricardo. We have Mugi Canzino that's going to join us. We have it for you, y'all. And like we always say, come get some of this positivity on you. Take a shower in it. Take a bath in it. Go scuba diving in it. Do whatever you need to do to get up under it and come up out of it and flick it on somebody else, because we all just trying to keep it going, y'all. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, The Victor Brooks Show. Click that subscription, y'all, so we can keep this positivity going around the world. I thank you. I love you. Peace and love till the next time on The Victor Brooks Show. We'll see you then.